this election is the best example of why y'all are so afraid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because then you can't have a simple-minded, underqualified white man somehow end up ascending.
You know what? They know he's simple-minded and underqualified. That's why they try and hide him. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. It's been a long week.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump has said he is planning to visit Springfield here in the coming weeks. But yesterday, the Republican mayor here in Springfield threw some cold water on that. He said it would be best for his city right now if Donald Trump did not come. And if he decided to not come, it would, quote, bring peace to the city. Harris?
Well, he's not there now and they don't have peace. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the blunt question first. Is there anybody in your town that is eating pets?
So let me just say on the onset, Springfield is a beautiful community, and your pets are safe in Springfield, Ohio.
And I mean a long week.
There are a lot of stories people talk about, and then they really fall flat. People aren't interested in them. This is a story people are really interested in. Google searches for Mark Robinson since that K-File story broke yesterday versus the prior 24 hours. Nationally, searches for Mark Robinson up 8,540%. My goodness gracious. How about in the great state of North Carolina? Up by more than 4,000%, despite the fact that they were Googling him plenty before. The bottom line is a lot of interest in this story.
And if you're like me, what you needed at the end of a long week was somebody to restore your faith in democracy, somebody to speak truth to power. And thankfully, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is always on time. Now, the last time we heard from Jasmine Crockett, she had just been named the co-chair of the Harris-Walz campaign.
And for a long time, there's been this conversation about the old guard and the new guard and things like that. And so as we saw a changing of the guard with President Biden handing it off to Vice President Kamala Harris, I think what you also see is someone who also appreciates the younger guard, even younger than her, having a perspective. And, you know, while I was at DNC and had an opportunity to share a little bit about how our relationship started.
I know what you're thinking.
When you're down and out, and there seems no hope at all.
But if you just believe, there's no way we can fall.
And she had also just taken out Byron Donalds in the debate undercard.
What we will see is this whining child who will sit there and won't give direct answers and honestly will distract and be a bumbling fool. We've seen it on the trail when he starts talking about, wind, and he starts complaining about sharks. I mean, the guy is really weird and off his rocker. And so I think that she really wants to, number one, assure the American people that she has a grasp on the issues, as well as remind them of why we kicked him out in the first place, and remind them as to why we don't want to go back. Because right now it's been a glorification, but people aren't talking about those freezer trucks that had deceased bodies sitting in them because he botched COVID-19. We're not talking about the millions of people that died. We're not talking about the reason that small businesses had to shut down was because he failed to acknowledge that we even had a pandemic going on and that he was telling people to inject themselves with bleach. What they don't want to talk about is how they lost all these jobs, or the fact that we went $8 trillion into debt in one term under Trump, because it was never about the rest of us. It was always about him and his friends. And so I think that the contrast will be clear, that she can remain cool in all situations, but also she will get to the facts.
Huh? Oh, well, okay. I guess technically the last time we heard from Jasmine Crockett was this. Very good questions, by the way. Questions I'll be answering in an upcoming video. Stay tuned. But in the meantime, she went to the House floor and just lit everybody on fire.
Chair now recognizes Ms. Crockett from Texas.
Somehow, Chairman recognizing Ms. Crockett from Texas gotta be the new intro, like, from North Carolina. Woo! Not you, Mark Robinson. No, not you. No, this is Michael Joy. This is the greatest. This is a different kind of goat.
Chair now recognizes Ms. Crockett from Texas.
Thank you so much. You know what? This hearing is actually the best example of what waste, fraud, and abuse looks like, because the only reason we're having this hearing is because somebody got their feelings hurt in a debate.
I gotta call you out right there, Jasmine. That's not, no, just say what you mean. Say exactly what you mean. We know what happened.
Even a blind man could see that it was a man down situation the other day during the debate. You know, one of the phrases that we use as a colloquialism is that we snatch wigs. Well, I'm just telling you, he got his toupee snatched.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
And I don't understand why we're wasting taxpayer dollars. Next time, tell your big boy to show up and be ready to handle the woman in the room who hopefully will become the next president of the United States. Nevertheless, while we do have two amazing authors from Project 2025, which it seems like everybody got the memo. Like, yes, I'm going to double down and say it's my thing, but I'm going to make sure I also say that it ain't our homeboys thing, because we know that it doesn't poll very well with the American people, because the American people are woke enough to recognize that there is nothing good in it for them.
Now, I just want to highlight something right here. I have given the analogy in the past that Republicans couldn't decide whether Project 2025 was the legislative wife or the legislative side piece. They couldn't decide if that was the thing that they wanted to parade around and say, look what we're going to do, or that's the thing that they just going to slide in at the 11th hour and hope that nobody notices. They were mixed messages. Trump is acting like it was a side piece, which he has experience with that. But they have others that are acting like it's a legislative wife, and now they're caught unawares. Well, here's the thing. There would be no reason for Trump to try and disavow his knowledge of Project 2025 if it was something that you could argue was in the best interest of the people. By virtue of Trump trying to distance himself from Project 2025 is the admission that he knows that it's unpopular and therefore not what people actually want. So what you mean to tell me is that you are intentionally and very visibly pushing through legislation you know the people don't want. Let's just make that clear.
So with that being said, Ms. Perryman, I'm just curious, and this is yes or no. Is Trump's name ever mentioned in Project 2025? Yes or no? Just yes or no. I got you. I got you.
Within the document itself,
yes.
There are a number of references to the former administration.
Okay, so Trump is referenced in the document himself. The thing that he claims he has no knowledge of, he is referenced in the document himself. Maybe once or twice. Let's just see what the volume's looking like.
So is Trump's name mentioned just one time?
I believe it's mentioned more.
Okay. 5 times.
I haven't counted.
Oh, okay. Well, if I told you that his name is mentioned approximately 312 times, would you have any reason to dispute that?
I don't have any reason.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's interesting that we want to try to pretend. We're not going to pretend in here. We're going to work with facts and not fiction.
312 times. Yes, that is quite a fact that we're working with. And here's another point. Regardless of whether or not he knows, has heard of, has intimate knowledge of Project 2025 is immaterial. There's a very real case to be made that Trump might legitimately have no knowledge of Project 2025. Like there's a case to be made that Trump has no knowledge of the basic core tenets of being president of the United States. I don't know if there's many things that I could say for sure that Trump has intimate knowledge of. Not marriage, not golf, not business, Bankruptcy. He has intimate knowledge of bankruptcy. That one he does. Trump might actually have never even heard of Project 2025. It doesn't matter when you're in it 312 times. What that means is that your election is the thing that allows for all of this to occur. So this whole I've never heard of it, who cares? You know who has heard of it? All of your aides that are in the video. J.D. Vance, he's somebody who's heard of it. And guess what? He's going to be vice president if you get elected.
So I also want to talk about inflation really quickly with you, Ms. Perryman, because we've talked about it a lot. I'm just curious to know, is the inflation that we just struggled through, was that global or was that limited to the United States?
Global.
Global. Seemingly, it was attached to this thing called the global pandemic. Is that correct?
That is my understanding.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't just the United States.
No.
Okay, so it wasn't just a matter of the Biden-Harris administration and the United States is struggling, right?
I think the United States actually fared better than.
See, no, the pandemic was the thing that ruined the Trump economy. Yeah, so that the Trump economy was great, and then the pandemic was the thing that and we don't get credit for all the things like all the trash bags over people's heads and all the pads that people was putting around their faces to go grocery shopping. We don't get credit for none of that. But the inflation is all your fault. Yeah, the inflation, that's all. I don't care what was going on in the world or it was a global pandemic. Inflation is all, huh? Yeah, because I said COVID is the thing that messed the economy up. Yeah, but no, because I don't count COVID in your administration, just in this administration. Yeah, it only, because COVID ended on January 6th, ended COVID, because there was no social distancing during the insurrection. Here you have one of the authors of Project 2025 asserting that America fared better on the back end when it comes to inflation. What if they're going to put that on Fox News?
The States is struggling, right?
I think the United States actually fared better than the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah. In fact, we are, correct?
I think so, yeah.
All right, but inflation still hurts, and so that's why we have a candidate that has an actual plan instead of concepts of a plan.
Ooh, that's got to be the second best concepts of a plan joke I've heard all week.
And so part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That's a business in
teeny tiny business.
It's a concept of a business, right?
Yes.
You know where I'm going.
That was number one.
Or as I like to say, Trump only has offered concepts of constitutionality mixed with coordinations of a coup.
Did she just do it again?
The question before us is, will a vindictive, vile villain violate voters' vision? If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, or as I like to say, Trump only has offered concepts of constitutionality mixed with coordinations of a coup.
Yes, she did.
But nevertheless, we're going to move on. I want to talk about the internet really quickly because we wanted to talk about the internet. Actually, let me talk about the border real fast, and then we can talk about Texas in this way. I'd ask for unanimous consent to admit this article from The Hill that says Trump says, blame it on me if border bill fails.
We need to see that again? We need it for those did you see? Y'all got it? Okay. Fox News, oh, they sleep.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you so much. Now I'm going to move on to the internet. And I'm actually going to talk about Texas because I believe that the testimony has been somewhere around the fact that no money has actually been disputed as it relates to rural broadband. I'd also ask for unanimous consent to admit this article from the USDA.gov. USDA officials attend groundbreaking to expand high-speed internet access in rural Texas, dated March 7th, 2024. Italy, Texas.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you so much.
With respect, that was not the testimony.
Did he say with respect? That was not. This is a document, sir. Are you challenging the document that has been brought into the record? Also, did you say sir?
Oh, I thought you said no dollars had been spent.
The largest single program.
My question is, did you not say
$42 billion.
Okay.
0 houses have been connected. There are other federal programs, including Trump-era ones, that right now are turning dirt and connecting.
Okay, so just to be clear, because I don't want the American people to be confused, because I was confused, because it almost seemed as if, considering the fact the name of this hearing is the failed policies, as if nothing had been done. But to clarify for those that are watching, you aren't saying that no dollars have been spent as it relates to rural broadband dollars under the Infrastructure Act, correct?
That was a yes or no question. That was a yes or no question. That definitely was. I know a yes or no question. I'm married.
As it relates to rural broadband dollars under the Infrastructure Act, correct?
To be clear.
That is not a yes or no answer. That is not a yes or no answer. You got your answer when you ask a yes or no question, and what you hear back is to be clear, you got all the information you need.
For the signature effort, $42
Yes or
billion,
no? Have any dollars been spent?
not a
$1.
single person has been connected. That's
Not my question though. My question was, have any?
You think you about to out-talk Jasmine Crockett? Is that what you came for? You thought you was gonna come here and out-talk Jasmine Crockett. You realize that she memes people for a living, right? You realize she has just made a habit of memeing. Like, why would you volunteer for the Summer Jam screen? Like, why? I need to know.
Senator Ted Cruz from
Okay,
Texas
I'm
put out
going to
a
move on.
report
I'm going to
that
move
showed
on.
that
I'm reclaiming my time at this point.
many of these bills,
I'm reclaiming my time, which means, Chairman, I'm going to
per location.
stop my time because the witness is not.
Now, I love the idea of reclaiming my time. I'm going to bring that into my everyday life.
Reclaiming my time.
It's something I'm going to exhibit when the line for my food is too long.
Reclaiming my time.
It's something I'm going to exhibit at the DMV.
Reclaiming my time.
Don't let it be a bad Thursday night football game. I'm reclaiming all 4 of them hours.
Reclaiming my time.
Not to mention all the time that I spent scrolling past Diddy memes this week. Thanks for that.
Reclaiming my time.
Dollars per location.
Stop my time because the witness is not.
Are you asking him a question? Or are you?
No, I'm
reclaiming
not
your
asking
time?
him a question. I reclaim my time.
All right. Your chair recognizes Ms. Crockett.
Okay, now I was at 41, y'all, so go back up.
Get your time, Jasmine. Get your time. Get all of it. Somebody, one of y'all congressmen, donate some time to Jasmine, because she's better than y'all. We don't want to listen to y'all no way.
We'll give you 9 more seconds.
Okay, thank you so much.
This is about to be the longest, slowest 9 seconds of Donald Trump's life. Other than that time he was with Stormy in the hotel room. That was probably longer and slower for her.
Here's the deal. You've testified a lot about the problem with the broadband rollout being diversity, equity, and inclusion. You said DEI, I don't know how many times, which is one of the issues that Project 2025 takes issue with. But it's interesting to me because I have another article from the Texas Tribune, and it actually specifically states that internet providers say they are simultaneously hopeful and skeptical about whether the incoming federal dollars will be enough to connect the most underserved Texans. Historically, other federal rural broadband funding programs have seen limited success because many companies who committed to providing broadband went into default after radically underestimating their cost. It doesn't say anything about diversity. And the final thing that I will say is that this election, I didn't ask you a question.
Huh, that's weird. I wonder why he not respecting her authority. That's interesting. Because he knew that he was coming to the House Oversight Committee, right? So he knew he was going to be talking to congressmen and congresswomen. I wonder what makes him think he could just out-talk Jasmine Crockett. And I would also like to add, what follows is all your fault. Because I don't know that she would have gone here if you didn't poke that bear. So congratulations, sir. This is your work.
The final thing that I will say is that this election is the best example of why y'all are so afraid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because then you can't have a simple-minded, underqualified white man somehow end up ascending. Instead, you've got to pay attention to the qualified black woman that is on the other side. And with that, I will yield.
You did that. You did that. You did that. You know what? I'm going to run it back because you might have missed something. Let's enjoy your work.
The final thing that I will say is that this election is the best example of why y'all are so afraid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because then you can't have a simple-minded, underqualified white man somehow end up ascending. Instead, you've got to pay attention to the qualified black woman that is on the other side. And with that, I will yield.
Simple-minded, underqualified. And you know what? You know what? They know he's simple-minded, underqualified. That's why they try and hide him. That's why they saying, why don't you just stay on message? We can't have you, making appearances and being you. The more you go out and be you, the more you go out and show your true personality, the more the public will start to realize how simple-minded and underqualified you in fact are.
But he has to turn them into important gifts. He has to hammer away, does he not? I mean, that's what he, don't wander off, don't call her stupid and all kinds of names, stay on message.
They know he's simple-minded, underqualified, and they still will try and push him through.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Well, the president's on pause here. We're going to kind of.
They had to cut away. The man froze.
Like the last two presidential election cycles.
Now, Jasmine Crockett has set fire to the case against DEI before. I've talked about it on this very platform.
And there are those that would make some people believe that because I happen to be black and or a woman, that somehow, even though I can rattle off all the qualifications in the world, my blackness makes me unqualified.
But considering the week that we just had, I will take this one issue with you, Jasmine Crockett. You can, in fact, be a simple-minded and underqualified black candidate who gets pushed through as well.
Mark Robinson, he's out there, he's fighting. A very good man.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2.
I think he's going to go down as one of the great leaders in our country. I've been with him a lot. I've gotten to know him, and he's outstanding. He's outstanding in presentation, but he's probably even more outstanding in heart. Somebody that we have to be very, very careful. We have to cherish. We have to cherish, Mark. He's a star. You have to cherish him.
As long as you're pushing the rhetoric and the policies of the simple-minded, underqualified white candidate in front.
This nation needs a fighter. Someone who is willing to go onto the world stage, walk in boldly, strongly, waving the American flag, saying the Americans are here and we are in charge again. And we're going to lead this world into the future with freedom. That's what America needs, and that is why on this stage today I am endorsing Donald J. Trump.
And bad built butch body.
Stop it. Get some help. She snatched all y'all toupees. Yeah, she did. That's why you came in bald. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and especially those of you that have liked and subscribed to the page. Did y'all know I had a website? I know, it's so kind of old-fashioned these days. Yes, I have a website, reesewaters.com. There you'll find my most recent work, but also my past work if you want to know a little bit more about me. You'll also find a portal where you could sign up for my newsletter. You could also sign up by sending me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. Where you could also send me any suggestions for ideas, something I need to take a look at, or you just want to say hello. And by the way, if you go to the website now, you'll find a little something special. That's right, we got merch. There's mugs there, there's t-shirts there, there's hats there, repping street politics, troubled waters, and of course, Racist of the Week. Where would we be without Racist of the Week? I don't know that I would have any content.
and it's something that we saw a lot out of Trump specifically because all of his friends were going to prison, and he's probably got more friends that are headed to prison soon, and if we are lucky, he will find him a cellmate.
Hi, welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Huh? Yeah, I saw Jasmine Crockett snatch Donald Trump's toupee.
This election is the best example of why y'all are so afraid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because then you can't have a simple-minded, underqualified white man somehow end up ascending. Instead, you've got to pay attention to the qualified black woman.
But you heard they took her key card. Yeah, for elder abuse. What? They let her back in the building? Shoot, they must want some more.
I'll pick up maybe a little bit where my colleague just left off, and the question was about Butler, Pennsylvania. I'm curious to know if any of you are aware as to whether or not the FBI is involved at all in determining what's going on in Springfield, Ohio, because as far as I'm concerned, there is domestic terrorism afoot, and it is at the word of the Republican nominee and his running mate.
Yes, that is correct. And just in case there are some of you that are like, domestic terrorism, how about a refresher? Joy?
So there's a term that you might not have heard before, but will unfortunately probably hear me use again, that describes what J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and their right-wing friends like Christopher Rufo and Stephen Miller are doing. It's stochastic terrorism. Stochastic terrorism is when the public demonization of a person or group of people through ideologically driven hate speech increases the likelihood that those people will be violently attacked and targeted because of those vicious claims. It's when attacks on drag queens claiming that they are grooming and sexting children lead to drag shows being canceled because of bomb threats. It's the right's demonization of Speaker Nancy Pelosi that leads to a deranged man breaking into her San Francisco home, searching for her so he can, quote, put her on trial, and instead bashing her husband's head in. And of course, it's what J.D. Vance has done to Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. There's also a second term you need to know to understand what these people are doing. And I promise you, I'm not making it up. It's called dead catting, making a shocking, dramatic, and usually false claim to distract from a more damaging story. It's like if a comedian threw a dead cat onto the stage to divert attention from the fact that he's bombing. And it's a technique often used by autocrats and failing leaders.
As far as I'm concerned, there is domestic terrorism afoot, and it is at the word of the Republican nominee and his running mate. So do we know if anyone is checking into that on the federal level? I'm just curious. Just a yes or no, anybody?
I don't know.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, there is so much about that. That's perfect. There is so much about that. That is perfect. Laying out what's going on in Springfield, calling it domestic terrorism. Do we know if there's anybody that's even checking into that? Anybody that's looking into it? A long pause and I don't know. Yes, that is exactly the level of seriousness that they take towards domestic terrorism.
Either way, I want to move on, and I want to talk about Mr. Kirshner. I'm just curious, if you were to define what weaponization of the federal government looks like, just in a quick, short definition, what would it be?
Using the Department of Justice to reward your friends and your criminal associates by delivering pardons after they'd been convicted by juries or before their case was even concluded or before their case was even charged.
Pardons, you say?
And conversely, using the Department of Justice to punish your perceived enemies, order investigations and prosecutions, even if they're not warranted by evidence.
Even if they're not warranted by evidence, you say.
There has been zero evidence linking the president to any sort of wrongdoing. The White House acknowledges this. All the Democrats acknowledge this. In fact, now more and more Republicans acknowledge this. That's why there has been no vote. I mean, this is just at the point now where it's become a joke. It's ridiculous. I mean, look at the hearing today. We had one witness testifying from prison. We had another witness who's a disgraced business person who has lied over and over again. And this has just been a long line of frauds, spies, people that are being convicted of crimes as witnesses in this massive scam that the Republican House majority has put on the American people. So it is over. We need to move on.
I'm sorry, that was not brief.
That's okay. It was accurate. Because that's how I see weaponization as well. And it's something that we saw a lot out of Trump specifically because all of his friends were going to prison.
Trump got so many friends in prison that you wouldn't let your sons hang out with him. No, you wouldn't. And it's not even the normal choice of that. You just gonna end up dead or in prison. This one is you're going to prison. If you're going to prison.
Because all of his friends were going to prison, and he's probably got more friends that are headed to prison soon. And if we are lucky, he will find him a cellmate soon as well.
I do have to fact check you right there, though, Jasmine Crockett. I don't think there's any way that Trump isn't in PC. Yeah. No, not because of his status, just because he would keep getting assaulted by his cellie. Like, no way, there ain't a prisoner in America that could put up with 24 hours of Donald Trump.
But nevertheless, as we talk about weaponization, because this whole committee feels as if it's projection, I want to go to something that's pretty interesting, but I'm gonna start with Mr. Allen. I wasn't on this committee the first time you were here, so this is the first time we're interacting. But I am caught up to speed, and I have a simple question for you, yes or no. Do you believe that career employees like yourself should have your job taken away even if you've done your job well and followed agency rules? Do you think it's right to be fired just because you have political disagreements with those above you?
No, it's not right to persecute anyone for their political or religious beliefs, especially in an organization where there's supposed to be the free flow of ideas.
I love that second part that he added. An organization where there's supposed to be a free flow of ideas. You know, like a country. Yeah, they do work better with the free flow of ideas.
Okay, I appreciate your answer and your honesty, and I absolutely agree with you. It is interesting, though, because that's exactly what Trump and my Republican colleagues would do if they won the election. It's spelled out in Project 2025. Trump would strip due process rights available to career civil servants and remove, suspend, or reduce their pay in an all-out effort to oust agency employees for partisan reasons rather than because of issues with merit or performance.
Now, can we just think about what that looks like right now? Because I know a lot of you have issues with the way that the government functions. You have a lot of issues with the red tape. You have a lot of issues with the weights. You have a lot of issues with the fat and the inefficiency of the way the government functions. Now, you want to take people that actually have experience and know the ins and outs into trying to get things done and remove them on the basis of politics and insert a bunch of new people for no other reason than on the basis of politics. How is that going to work out? I mean, if you did that at a Subway, I wouldn't trust the meatball marinara. You want to do that with the whole government?
And before you say Trump and Project 2025 aren't affiliated, I'd ask unanimous consent to submit into the record Trump's campaign page where he claims on day one, I'd reissue 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to fire rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. The only reason democracy is standing strong today is because we had public servants who pledged loyalty to the Constitution and rule of law and not to Donald Trump. Mr. Kirshner, your testimony today demonstrates you're familiar with Project 2025. Is that a fair statement?
Particularly as it.
Hey, we can't hear you, dog. Yeah, just fix the mic.
As it pertains to the Department of Justice.
Okay. And you are aware or maybe you're not, we'll see. On page 547, that Project 2025 states its goal of implementing a top-to-bottom overhaul of DOJ that, quote, must include the FBI, because anything less would, quote, guarantee the failure of the conservative administration's agenda.
First of all, touche on trying to hide that on page 547. Like that was well done. I don't give them a lot of credit for a lot of things, but burying that was solid.
That does not make a lot of sense to me.
Okay, but that's in Project 2025.
It is
Okay.
yes, it is.
All right, just wanted to clarify that. And also, this agenda includes, for example, enforcing federal criminal laws against providers and distributors of abortion medication, as well as rescinding policies that hold that sex discrimination includes discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, transgender identity, among other things. Is that correct?
Yes, Representative, on page 562, they talk about aggressively going after prosecuting, quote, providers and distributors of abortion pills that use the mail. So folks who are, mailing abortion pills to women who need it, that is really not what is endangering our country or inspiring, violent crime.
Well, yes, that is certainly an unobjectionable fact, and I saw that they tried to bury that one on page 562. But I would like to toss back to something I said a couple of videos ago. The fact that Trump wants to try and run away from Project 2025 as much as possible. Tell women, I am your protector, and you won't have to worry about abortion.
I am your protector. I want to be your protector. As president, I have to be your protector. You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared. No longer be thinking about abortion. It's all they talk about, abortion.
Ah, yes, because the rights of your daughters and granddaughters should be of absolutely no concern to me. Just trust me, because that has worked so well for everybody in the past. No, not the ones in jail. The other ones that's not in jail. Oh, well, yeah, but they not endorsing the campaign. Is some of them in jail and some of them not in jail and not endorsing the campaign? I mean, like, just trust Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, just trust. Oh, dang, he might be in jail. Just think of the level that they have sunk to at this particular point in time. I can't defend Project 2025. I can't even defend our record on abortion. You know what? Just trust me. I am your protector. They would even boo you off Maury with that act, but yet it plays on Fox News.
I absolutely agree. This week, the New York Times reported multiple instances of Trump trying to weaponize the DOJ to retaliate against his political enemies, finding that, quote, Mr. Trump told Mr. McGahn that he wanted to order Mr. Sessions, the Attorney General, to prosecute Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Comey, and if Mr. Sessions refused, he would take matters into his own hands.
Anybody need a refresher on that one?
I know my time is running out, so I just have to ask, Mr. Chairman, given you've convened this hearing, theoretically it's you, given that you've convened this hearing on weaponizing federal agencies, will you commit to publicly condemning Trump for attempting to weaponize the government and condemn Project 2025 for its efforts to do the same?
Gentlelady's time has expired.
Let's watch that again.
I know my time is running out, so I just have to ask, Mr. Chairman, given you've convened this hearing, theoretically it's you, given that you've convened this hearing on weaponizing federal agencies, will you commit to publicly condemning Trump for attempting to weaponize the government and condemn Project 2025 for its efforts to do the same?
Gentlelady's time has expired.
If you want to know the levels of 4D chess that Jasmine Crockett is playing right here, that's the way she ended and put him in a position where he refused to condemn such things Thank you for playing. This kind of reminds me of Lindsey Graham. And by the way, I put out that piece a couple days ago. Lindsey Graham stumbled back into this. Lindsey Graham mistakenly saying that Mark Robinson should sue CNN.
I think what's going to happen here is that he deserves a chance to defend himself, Mark Robinson. The charges are beyond unnerving. If they're true, he's unfit to serve for office. If they're not true, he has the best lawsuit in the history of the country for libel. He's claiming they were artificially created and that CNN passed it along to be true. Has NBC confirmed this?
Not yet. We're all looking into it.
Well, so what I would do if I were him, I would hire me the best lawyer I could find. I'd sue the hell out of CNN because what they're saying about him is just unbelievable.
But the realization that if he tried such a thing, he would get so destroyed by discovery that he would wish he never left that pizza shop to go over to the video place and watch the previews with the Supreme. He would wish that he never logged on as Mini Soldier if he ever went to discovery in an actual lawsuit, which is why he can't sue, and which is why the lack of a suit is a pretty damning indictment. Thank you, Lindsey Graham, but you did it by accident. Jasmine Crockett out here just setting folks up. I told y'all how it was gonna go if you let her back in the building. And now that you let her back in the building, she going out to the streets, out to the people, and spreading the good news.
That's what I like to hear. I don't know if y'all can read my shirt, but it says, my black job is to vote. Woo! When I say my black job, I'm gonna need y'all to answer what my black job is. My black job is...
Stay alive. I'm sorry, vote.
My black job is...
Keep plastic bags under the sink. Sorry. Vote.
My black job is...
Protect Viola Davis. Sorry. Vote.
Now listen, I know not everybody here is black. So I'm gonna tell y'all, our collective job is to vote in November, all right? And some of y'all may think, oh, California, we know what California's gonna do. And I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I am telling you to do your research. And your research may start with Project 2025.
That's right, actual research, not the Amber Rose version of do your own research, which is cash a check.
Has anybody heard of Project 2025? Okay. If you ain't heard of it, make sure you Google it. And the one thing that I want you to do is make sure you're telling your friends, your family, your coworkers. I need you to get into your group chats. Tell everyone you know that this election is the most important election of our lifetimes. And I'm not saying that to scare y'all. But have y'all seen the bleach blonde one? Yeah, okay. Yeah. I need some better coworkers, y'all. Woo. In California, y'all got some real good opportunities to send me some really good coworkers.
Does she need some better coworkers? Man, her coworkers been keeping me busy for the last 3 months. She gonna run out of letters to use for her alliteration if she don't get some better coworkers.
So do your research and make sure you vote up and down the ballot. I need y'all. I need y'all in this fight. Again, what is our job in November?
Knock pumpkin spice out people's hands. Sorry. Vote.
What is our job in November?
Vote.
Now, if you know anybody who says, well, you know what? I need to know more about what it takes to get registered to vote, whether or not I'm registered, just tell them to go to iwillvote.com, all right? What's the website? That's right, Inglewood, I knew y'all had this on lock. So listen, I'm gonna make sure I get out of the way because Gladys gonna tell y'all a little something about Georgia.
Now, first of all, shout out to the ally wearing the Kamala Harris t-shirt who provided this video. If you wanted no other evidence of the power of Jasmine Crockett, she had people entertained during an intermission at a music festival. You know how mad them people be waiting to hear the headliner? I know. I've been booed before in this same spot. And I had jokes. I wasn't trying to educate people. I was literally there to entertain them. And Bowie State, I ain't forgiving y'all for that. I haven't. Now, you had no business. Look, booing me off is one thing. What you had to send Sandman to? I don't even think he was working with the festival. I think you had to go and get somebody to dress as Sandman to come get me off stage. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I especially want to thank those of you that have been emailing me at reese@reesewaters.com. I do look at it, and I wanted to say I've taken a number of suggestions. Just in the past week, I think half the videos were suggested from emails that I received from you guys, so keep them coming. And just because I may not be able to respond doesn't mean that I don't see it, and it doesn't mean that it's not impactful, because the email and the feedback that I get from you guys shapes my perception of the people that are consuming my content. So it really does impact the direction that we take moving forward. So just because I may not respond to your email doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. So thank you guys very much. Of course, we have the website, reesewaters.com. There's some new merch on the website as well, so be on the lookout for that. And by the way, if you get some merch, if you get a shirt or hat or whatever the case may be, send me a photo of yourself with it. Maybe put in the title merch pick or something like. I could think of a way better subject title. Those of you that have signed up for my newsletter, use the portal on my website. I appreciate you guys for doing that. There'll be a new newsletter that is going out shortly, and in it will be updates on channel membership. That's right, something that you guys have been mentioning to me for a long time. We're finally on the precipice of it, so you can get all the details and the membership. Again, you can sign up on my website or send me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. There is so much on the horizon, and I, for one, am extremely grateful that you're along with me on this ride. Because Jasmine Crockett was talking about the bench. Yeah, I've been on the bench my whole life. Well, call me in. I'm game. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page, and shout out to all of our members here on this channel. Well, y'all heard Melania.
Of the values that you work hard for what you want in life.
For what you want in life.
That your word
is your bond. That you do what you say you're going to do.
Keep your promise.
That you treat people
with
dignity and respect, because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
Sorry, not that one. The other clip.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
Had you spoken to President Trump about that before you wrote that in the book?
Yes, he knew my position and my beliefs since the day we met. I believe in individual freedom. I want to decide what I want to do with my body. I think I don't want government in my personal business. I think it's very important.
Well, huh? Oh, Jen. You want to take this? All right, you got it.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I've watched that Melania Trump video many times. I have a lot of questions. I mean, one of which is, why is it black and white? What's going on with the whole setting there? I don't know. I can't answer that question. But here's my other big one. So now you're a proponent of abortion rights. Where have you been for 9 years before you were trying to sell a book? Like, for example, when your husband was naming 3 Supreme Court justices who were clearly going to overturn Roe v. Wade? Where have you been? Where were you when he's saying it goes back to the states? This is essentially an abortion ban, which is what's happening in a number of dozens of states across the country right now. Have you spoken with him about it? Have you expressed concern? Or is this about selling a book or something you were told to do? I don't know the answer to any of these questions, but my main big question is why now? Maybe we know the answer, but there's a long time you could have been out there speaking out.
Now help me out here, Melania. Either you have been sitting in the back just gnashing your teeth at all of the rights being taken away from the women that you hold so dear, and you just couldn't take it anymore, and this is when it spilled out of you. You just couldn't be held back, and it's just a coincidence that you're selling a book. This is the moment that you decided that you just had to show your real life face. Either that, or that call came in and was like, we gotta put a face on this. We gotta put a face on, hey, how much it gonna cost to get Melania out here? Say something about abortion. No, because I got her Venmo right here. I got it. No, because I already sent one for her to come to the RNC. Either you sat in the back for years and allowed all of these rights to be taken away, and now you decide that you want to say something less than 30 days before the election while you're selling a book, or you are here to put a pretty face on the absolute degradation of women's rights like we haven't seen in half a century. Which one you want? Huh? Which door you taking, Melania? I mean, neither one looks particularly flattering for you. I'll be honest. Now, I will also say, I understand your circumstances, situation. I get that not all of your personal feelings will be reflected by your partner, and certainly not by your partner who is beholden to all of his donors and all of his backers and MAGA and all of these knuckleheads and the red hats and whatnot. I totally understand that. However, by virtue of you signing up for that, you get held responsible for being in consort with the man who's pushing through all of that legislation.
She didn't know what the hell to say.
Dems the brakes. You don't just get all those bags and all those vacations for nothing. It would kind of be like if you was just a brother out of New York with a fake Jamaican accent and felonies and an ex-wife that you had to extricate yourself from the marriage in order to step into a new life over here in Florida with these right-wingers that are going to uplift you, put some money in your pocket, get you a house. But what you have to speak ill of all the people from where you came from, and also make it harder for any of them to follow in your particular footsteps. I understand why you feel like you have to continue to push their policies because of what they have done for you personally. That also makes you extremely selfish and quite a sellout. That's just what it is. That is literally the definition of selfishness. Well, for one, Jasmine Crockett was not having it.
Does the Harris campaign welcome any support for abortion access wherever it comes from, even from the former First Lady?
I think that's actually been the really kind of scratch your head moment that we all are examining right now, really trying to figure out, are you guys trying to play good cop, bad cop, and trying to bring people in and to trust Donald Trump? Because obviously when we think about a spouse, we think about pillow talk. And so it's like, well, maybe he's going to be good on this issue. But let me tell you, there's one thing that I believe that the American people are better at, and that is being tricked or fooled. This is Donald Trump's Supreme Court that literally stripped us of our rights. And so considering the fact that he is the one that set us ablaze and set us on fire, I don't then anticipate that he's going to be the fireman to actually put this fire out. So listen, we don't have to trust what they say. We have to trust what they do. And what we know is that Donald Trump has bragged about the overturning of Roe.
That is absolutely right. You don't have to trust what he says. Look at what he does. But also, you could look at other things that he said.
I always thought women liked me.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the...
I make this statement to the great women.
Questionable comments about a young girl.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. I am your protector.
Carol opening her testimony today saying, quote, "I'm here because Donald Trump to me."
I want to be your protector.
5 former Miss Teen USA contestants told BuzzFeed that Trump did in fact walk in on them while they were changing.
And so I sort of get away with things like that. You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared.
Donald held back Ivana's arms and began to pull out fistfuls of hair from her scalp.
You're not going to be in danger any longer.
I turned around and I see Donald standing there. I'm thinking, this son of a bitch just grabbed me.
Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free.
Trump called Epstein a terrific guy, adding, "It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side."
You will no longer be thinking about abortion.
They're going to just let me bleed out here.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle? The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment. For the woman? Yeah. You will be protected, and I will be your protector. Women, I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade. I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Oh, he's a protector, all right, of the patriarchy and apparently all things 1980s culture. He is like a time capsule of my childhood.
And Congresswoman, as a co-chair of the campaign, there's criticism from some that, Vice President Harris is not doing enough interviews, that she's out there campaigning, but she's not taking part in interviews. I know she was willing to do another debate. Donald Trump refused so far.
Oh, yeah, you were right to bring that up. That is fascinating that you would say that she's not doing enough interviews and then follow that with the fact that he was the one that bailed out of a debate. I don't know why your follow-up wouldn't prevent that from being a line of questioning.
Time is running out. But she seems to falter in interviews. She did one with Stephanie Ruhle. She did one, of course, with Dana Bash. She did one with local Pittsburgh KDKA. That's 3 interviews in this entire campaign.
Okay, Andrea Mitchell is trying it. She is close. Should I go to the clip? Okay, I'm not gonna go to the clip yet. She's faltering in interviews. You mean like this?
I will very quickly deflate. We are going to take inflation and we are going to deflate it. On day 1 of the Trump Organization, when I founded it, it was nice, but now it's great. But I want to get back to the Trump administration because the Trump administration is going to do things. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., which is a disgrace what they've let happen to it, with graffiti all over the beautiful Aurora. Talking about today is high on her list. The whole country is going to be like, you want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president.
Are these the kind of falters that you're looking for? Even Vanderbilt didn't move the goalpost as much as the media is moving the goalpost when it comes to Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris and their interviews.
Yeah, honestly, I was one of those that said, I don't care if she does an interview at all. And I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, she is running a historic campaign in a historic amount of time.
And I would add that Donald Trump had been so woeful. This is the same man who the aforementioned Jasmine Crockett, when asked whether or not one of his operatives would rather he stay in the basement until election day, would say that would give them a much better chance to win. The man who they're actively trying to hide, and you want to say Kamala Harris is faltering in interviews. I think we need to check her wires.
And so when you're trying to figure out which one you should really take the time to do, I honestly am the type of person that believes in taking your message to the people. You know, when we consistently hear things like, well, people say that they don't know her and that kind of stuff, I think that they actually want to interact with her. And I honestly think that that is actually where she is her strongest, when she's able to actually be there with the people, feel the energy of the people, and the people be able to feel her sincerity in the policy positions that she's taking and in her message of trust me, because I will take this country forward instead of allowing it to go back. So I think that this is just a very different election. And I think that she's doing the best that she can with the minimal amount of time that she's got left to get this done.
Well, she could certainly do more interviews, local interviews, network interviews, and those all get carried on television. It's the same as a rally. It's having the same impact in terms of reaching a lot of people.
Okay, so if you feel like it has the same impact and she's definitely doing the rallies, then what is your concern with the interviews? Because by virtue of your own justification, it has the same impact. So the only reason why you would want her to do interviews is because it was a sideways line of attack that came from the right wing. So the only justification based on your own words for you presenting that right now is that you are advancing their propaganda. Anything else?
That said, you're going to have surrogates. You've got, Liz Cheney. President Obama is going to start campaigning. Do you think we'll see Michelle Obama?
I think that there is a good chance that we may see Michelle. Now, this isn't any information that I've been given, so I don't want anyone to perceive that you're breaking news right now. But we are a big tent party and we've got a really big bench. And so I think that we are all hands on deck right now. And I think that's what you're seeing is there's surrogates from the House, surrogates from the Senate and beyond that are out there campaigning. And as you just mentioned, the former president is going to be out there. I think that we all know the force that the former first lady is.
Yeah. No, because Jasmine Crockett was talking about the bench. Yeah, I've been on the bench my whole life. Well, call me in. I'm game.
Definitely, if her schedule allows, I personally believe that she'll be out there as well, because we know that this election is going to come down to every single vote mattering, and it's going to be very, very tight.
Are you concerned about the firefighters union? That has been a key part of the Biden constituency, the Biden base, if you will, the labor movement base. Now that's the Teamsters, it's the firefighters. Is there something she can do to reassure the labor unions, working class people, men in particular, that she's got their back and that she knows their issues?
I got this one. Andrew Mitchell, are you concerned about the firefighters and the labor unions? Because it's a 50-50 election right now, and here is one of our nominees.
I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone. You're all gone.
So I'm wondering if you are concerned about the firefighters and the labor unions. Because I would be.
Yeah, because I haven't been in those rooms to understand what the disagreements have been about, it's hard for me to say what potentially the vice president could do to earn their support. I can say that she has a very strong record. You know, a lot of times when we're going through elections, we only have the promises that are put out there out front. But we know that this is someone who has stood with the PRO Act versus we know Donald Trump and the vast majority of his minions do not support the PRO Act. And so I think that she does have a record. I think that record is strong on unions in record fashion. We know that the teachers union came out almost immediately when the transition was made, and there have been so many other unions. I just can't really speak for what's going on with some of these other unions at this moment. I don't know what the disagreement it is, and so without me being able to assess what the underlying issue is, it's hard for me to say what she can do. But I can say that if you are a middle class working person, there's only one person in this race who has ever experienced that type of life. The other person was born and given $400 million and has never had to work to earn an honest penny a day of his life. We know that he got caught up for fraud in New York. We know that he had to file for bankruptcy 6 times. And so there is only one person who came from that middle class family and has worked her way up. And so if there's anybody you can trust in this fight, if there's only one team that's not talking about union busting, it's the blue team, the Harris-Walz team.
Let me translate that for you. It's clear where both of these two candidates stand when it comes to unions. Now, if some of those individuals in those unions want to act against their own best interests because they really like red hats, or it makes them feel superior to all the people that they pass on the street in their truck on their way into their union job, if they want to act against their own best interests, they are free to do so. However, it is clear exactly what their motivations are. You got it.
And quickly, let me just ask you about your home state of Texas. There is a hot Senate race. You're making gains on the Democratic side with Colin Allred against Ted Cruz. Just this week, the Cook Political Report moving that race from leaning Republican, or likely Republican, to leaning Republican. So that's some progress. This could be a key factor in control of the Senate. Is there any chance of a Senate victory in Texas?
I think that there's a chance. Here's the deal. We have been 47th for voter turnout in the country. And when we were 47th, guess what? Ted Cruz only won his reelection by 3 points. This is a guy that no one really likes. I mean, there's plenty of Republicans that dislike him. Definitely independents dislike him, as well as obviously Democrats dislike him. So it's just a matter of us deciding that we will show up and get to the polls. If we get to the polls, then it's game over for Ted Cruz. And it is definitely better days in the state of Texas. So I am encouraging everyone, regardless as to whether or not you think we can get this done or not, because I remember in 2008 that I didn't quite believe, but I hoped that we could elect Barack Obama. So even if you don't believe, let's go ahead and hope that Colin Allred can take out Ted Cruz and make sure that we show up to the polls and vote up and down the entire ballot. Because again, as you just mentioned, so long as we can get a Vice President Harris to become President Harris, she's going to need to govern. And governing starts with making sure that she's got a democratically controlled House as well as Senate.
That has always been baffling to me, that a state as prideful as Texas can feel good about itself being represented by Ted Cruz. Like, I really, that is just wild to me. And it's also notable to me that I haven't seen many of his colleagues come to his defense. So I think even they are like, you know what, if we lose a vote, it's fine. I don't want to sit by Ted at work no more. Like, if they're not gonna give me a new cubicle, then just bring Colin in. I'm sick of it. Now, Andrea Mitchell, you tried it. I mean, you really tried it. Like, it makes me wonder where you've been this entire election cycle.
And well, you worked in the White House with him for all those years. Every expectation that, assuming everything goes well, in 5 days we're going to see the president back running around the country again?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that...
Huh? I should go to... You know what she does? Your contempt for Kamala Harris is very clear. It makes me wonder exactly what the reason could possibly be.
I think they've got to double down on doing more interviews and serious interviews, because what I'm hearing from Democratic and Republican business people and a lot of men, and she's got such a big problem with men. I think there's an undercount of the Trump vote. I think there is misogynation in all of this, black and white men. Big problem, but also the business world. They don't think she is serious. They don't think she's a heavyweight. And a lot of this is gender, but she's got to be more specific about her economic plan.
This lady tapped into her childhood. She went back to the 1870s to talk about miscegenation, then corrected herself to make up a word of miscegenation, and then proceeded to act motivated by the aforementioned miscegenation. Because if you want to cite that that is the thing that people are holding against you, then why is it that you're saying, well, if you do X, Y, and Z? No, the only thing she can do is become a man. Now I see why they be so obsessed with trans operations. Now, yeah, because that's the one thing they fear. They must be terrified of that.
They have a lot of different things happening with respect to transgender right now. You know that. I want to protect our country.
All right, so I am, for one, extremely proud that Jasmine Crockett was there to
Hey, you see what it is for Giotto Blow, man. Found the best rose in the game. Amber, you see who you voting for, Amber?
Donald Trump, baby, 2024.
Trump, show him that ring. MAGA, baby, Super Bowl.
I'm engaged to the game.
Hey, we're MAGA, Bill. Let's
MAGA,
go.
baby.
MAGA.
Come on, are you still around? I thought you got the message when you went crying to Candace Owens. We don't want it. Hey, Jasmine, can you handle this?
If you look at someone like Amber Rose, for example, right? She really pioneered like the slut walk that's, supposed to protect women be who they are, what they want to be, but is really writing for someone, the candidate who will not protect women.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just wonder, do they get paid for that, or is this something that,
Some people, in my opinion, are doing stuff just to kind of become relevant. Yeah. Like, they're just like, who was talking about Amber Rose? Mm-hmm. Like, nobody had been talking about Amber Rose, and then all of a sudden she MAGA. Right.
True.
So now she is part of the conversation.
Yeah.
There are people that love to create the drama just so that they can be relevant, but my deal is there are real lives attached to this, so I don't need you looking for your relevancy or trying to clout chase. Like, if you are going to use your platform to educate people, then how about you do that? Do your own research before you get out here and you mislead people.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I very much appreciate the support. And as I mentioned previously, we got membership now. Yes, it was something that you guys suggested, and a suggestion that I took and moved forward with. And it's something I'm really super excited about. That's going to give me the ability to give people early access to videos and ad-free experience, and also be able to record things on the go when I'm not necessarily in my perfect environment. I have something I just want to drop in real quick. I have the ability to do that. The ability to give you guys deep dive investigation pieces, some of the stuff that may not necessarily be topical, but stuff that deserves your attention. And of course, some of the uncensored content as well, because Lord knows the kind of stuff that I have to cut out of my videos can make pieces in and of themselves. Well, now I have the ability to do all of that. So sincere thank you to everybody that has joined the channel already. I can't wait to see where this goes. Somehow, and this always shocks me. Somehow he is North Carolina's sitting lieutenant governor. I don't understand. We might need to go back. History Channel going to have to go back and figure out how that happened. Hi, my name is Reese Waters and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page, and welcome to all our brand new members. Now, by now, I'm sure you've seen the bombshells that come out of Jack Smith's court filings.
In the immediate post-election period, while Trump claimed fraud without proof, his private operatives sought to create chaos rather than seek clarity at polling places where states were continuing to tabulate votes. For example, on November 4th, someone identified as Person 5, a campaign employee, agent, and co-conspirator of the defendant, tried to sow confusion when the ongoing vote count at the TCF Center in Detroit, Michigan looked unfavorable to Trump. There, when a colleague at the TCF Center told Person 5, "We think a batch of votes heavily in Biden's favor is right," Person 5 responded, "Find a reason it isn't. Give me options to file litigation." The colleague suggested there was about to be unrest reminiscent of the Brooks Brothers riot, a violent effort to stop the vote count in Florida after the 2000 presidential election. Person 5 responded, "Make them riot and do it." Upon receiving a phone call alerting him that Pence had been taken to a secure location, someone identified as Person 15 rushed to the dining room to inform Trump in hopes that Trump would take action to ensure Pence's safety. Instead, after Person 15 delivered the news, Trump looked at him and said only, "So what?"
That's right. So what? And make them riot. And at this point, I feel like we can break Americans into one of two camps. Those that are already aware of Trump's responsibility and complicity with the big lie and everything that happened on January 6th, and those that are so willing to lie and so willing to contort themselves to make excuses for what Trump did that no amount of additional evidence will move them. I suppose there's also a very tiny third subsection of people who legitimately feel like he is absolved from any responsibility with the big lie in January 6th. But quite frankly, those people shouldn't be allowed to vote. I mean, really. And certainly nothing I say is going to move them if none of this evidence has.
You are fake news.
Now, to those in category 1 who are already in the place that I find myself in, we don't need any of this additional evidence. For those in category 2, just to give you an idea, we already saw the levels that they are willing to go to cover for Trump's responsibility in the big lie.
He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
It's a damning non-answer for you to not talk about censorship. Obviously, Donald Trump and I think that there were problems in 2020. We've talked about it. I'm happy to talk about it further. But you guys attack us for not believing in democracy.
Now, I got into all of that 12th round knockout, I believe it was, at the hands of Coach Walls. But one of the things that I actually didn't cover this week were the lies that Trump has been spreading about Hurricane Helene. He is out here talking about how the Biden-Harris administration has been irresponsible and hasn't gotten in touch with people they've clearly gotten in touch with.
The governor's doing a very good job. He's having a hard time getting the president on the phone. I guess they're not being responsive. The federal government is not being responsive, but they're having a very hard time getting the president on the phone.
The president just called me yesterday afternoon. I missed him and called him right back, and he just said, "Hey, what do you need?" And I told him, we got what we need. We'll work through the federal process. He offered that if there's other things we need, just to call him directly, which I appreciate that.
Donald Trump has accused both of you of ignoring the disaster.
He is lying. Let me get this straight. He's lying. And the governor told him he was lying. The governor told me he was lying. I've spoken to the governor, I've spent time with him, and he told me he's lying. I don't know why he does this. And the reason I get so angry about it, I don't care about what he says about me, but I care what he communicates to the people that are in need. He implies that we're not doing everything possible.
Hey, people of the South, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Donald Trump is willing to make you feel neglected and alone in a moment of crisis because it helps him politically. Your anger is what he wants, not your protection, not clothes on your back, not food in your belly. All he wants is your anger. But the thing about your anger, that anger isn't going to put clothes on your back or food in your belly or a roof back over your head. In fact, that anger will actually make it less likely that you get the help that's actually available because you're too busy swearing that it's not there.
I know I sound stupid to the Democrats right now.
Now, in light of the sensitivity of this particular tragedy, I'm not going to play the music, but this is absolutely a leopard's eating face moment. It absolutely is, because you were willing to ignore and excuse him squashing the border deal because it was something that he could run on, even though this is an issue that you say is pressing and it's actually affecting the people who live on the border every single day. You're willing to throw them under the bus and ignore the fact that he squashed it so you could continue the rhetoric of blaming them for the open border.
You're a real gentleman about this, and I know you're not trying to zing your colleagues, but it's your colleagues in your party, sir, who torpedoed this, who didn't get the facts right on what you just outlined was in that measure. They killed it. Ironically, not Democrats.
Right. It was, and it was painful to be able to watch it. It got stirred up in all the presidential politics, and several of my colleagues started looking for ways. After President Trump said, don't fix anything during the presidential election, it's the single biggest issue during the election, don't resolve this, we'll resolve it next year. Quite a few of my colleagues backed up, looked for a reason to be able to shoot against it, and then walked away. I get that. That's a decision everybody makes in it. My issue is if we're pursuing everything, we very often end up with nothing. If we're pursuing someone coming later to fix it, later seems to never come. When we have a moment to fix things, we should fix as many things as we can then come back later and fix the rest.
That's on Donald Trump, Senator.
But in this moment, here you have him asserting that they are being irresponsible and the help is not there. My question to you, are you taking the help that's available? Are you taking the help that's available? Or do you just want to stand with Trump and squalor because it helps him make a political point?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
And while we're talking about leopards eating faces, enter Mark Robinson. And I know y'all know Mark Robinson.
Ain't but two genders, ain't nothing but men and women. When it was time to face down Goliath, sent David, not DeVita, David.
We could pass a bill say you can't have an abortion in North Carolina for any reason.
He's got a open history of rank anti-Semitism, along with a bunch of other bigoted statements. He's made grotesque anti-abortion ads accusing women of not being responsible enough to keep your skirt down. Just 2 weeks ago, he had to deny a report that he was once a 5 nights a week attendee at multiple porn shops where he often brought a pizza into a private booth with him. CNN dropped a report that Robinson made a series of inflammatory comments on a pornography website's message board more than a decade ago, in which he referred to himself as a, quote, black Nazi and expressed support for reinstating slavery.
Somehow, and this always shocks me, somehow he is North Carolina's sitting lieutenant governor. I don't understand. We might need to go back. History Channel going to have to go back and figure out how that happened. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson was the lone state lawmaker who didn't approve Governor Roy Cooper's request to declare Hurricane Helene an emergency and mobilize emergency services ahead of the deadly storm. As the hurricane approached the state last week, Roy Cooper requested approval from the 9-person Council of State to act under the North Carolina Emergency Management Act. Within hours, all but one member had responded, and yes, that was Mark Robinson. You might be wondering, where was Mark Robinson? What was he up to? What did he have to do that he couldn't respond to the governor? Certainly, get your mind out the gutter. Y'all know that man wasn't back on nude Africa. No, not at a time like this, and it's probably down. Honestly, it's probably, or at least working very slow. You know what? Shockingly, he actually was on the internet. So I guess I gotta give you half a point on that one. He posted on Twitter, "The time for politics is over. We're talking about saving people's lives," which is a curious thing to say when you don't participate in the vote that could help, save people's lives, but you're on Twitter. Former North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory said that Robinson's lack of response to Cooper's emergency request was inexcusable in a time of crisis. And I would second that. WRAL had more smoke.
Now, when we asked Robinson's office why he didn't vote, his chief of staff sent a statement that didn't address the question. Former Governor Pat McCrory criticized Robinson for needling Cooper in the middle of a crisis, telling our NC Capitol team, quote, "This is not a time for criticism. This is a time for working together. You don't do that while they're still in the middle of search and rescue and recovery." Now, Robinson plans to talk more about his relief efforts again with this press conference.
Now, Robinson responded to the report saying, when Hurricane Helene was on its way to North Carolina, Governor Cooper was too busy hobnobbing with rich folks in New York to care about preparing for the storm. Is that why you didn't vote? Huh? Is that why you didn't vote to help to secure emergency services for the storm? Cause he's too busy hobnobbing with rich folks in New York. I'm trying to, and didn't you say the time for politics was over? Like you just said the time for politics was over. I would guess that somebody might have taken Mark Robinson's phone because of how disjointed these tweets are, but he don't got nobody else left in the campaign.
Several key people in North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson's campaign stepped down this afternoon. The campaign made the announcement around 5 this evening, saying the general consultant and senior advisor, the campaign manager, finance director, and deputy campaign manager are no longer in their roles. The development comes just days after a CNN report accused Robinson of leaving comments on a pornographic website, which included calling himself a black.
I mean, his campaign at this point just got to be him, his wife, and his wife's sister, because I guess she's down with 3.
There's the Mark Robinson they show. Then there's the Mark Robinson that I know.
So it's just, I mean, really, what are you talking about? He actually continued. Now, Democrats like Cooper, Josh Stein, and Joe Biden want to hide behind bureaucratic resolutions that pass automatically instead of getting out there and working to help people in dire need. I won't stand for this. I won't stand for it. I won't do my job. While they're playing politics, my team and I remain committed to doing all we can to help our neighbors in the wake of this devastating storm. And apparently doing all he can involves touching the tailpipe of a big rig he was riding in at the Mayberry Truck Show and Parade in Mount Airy. Bruh, you know we got you in 4K with the burns from the big rig tailpipe at the Mayberry Truck Show and Parade, and you want to talk about he hobnobbing in New York? And you're not gonna vote? And you know what? The saddest thing about all this is all of this work with this reporting I've done on Mark Robinson to try and censor myself. And here I had to say, when it was all said and done, that Mark Robinson touched the tailpipe. I told myself it wasn't gonna happen.
Robinson burned his hand while leaning against a truck. We are working to independently confirm this information.
Now here's the thing. When you ignore our collective good for your own personal gain to make some sort of political point, as we have seen with the people making excuses for Donald Trump and his actions on January 6th, as we see with the fact that Mark Robinson was able to ascend to lieutenant governor at all, when you make these kinds of decisions, it's just a matter of time before you will now be counting on this person for your own personal gain. You will need them for our own collective good, and you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. This is what happens when you ignore things like fitness for office, because you can't tell me this man was vetted and deemed fit for office. This man not even fit to ride a big rig at the Mayberry Truck Show in Mount Airy. And he's certainly not fit for nobody's message board. In fact, I'm surprised he's allowed back on the internet. Also, before I go, I want to send love and prayers up to everybody that was caught in Hurricane Helene. I was actually in South Carolina myself when the storm hit, and a lot of you guys have been sending me messages and leaving comments. But I especially want to draw attention to this email I received from Miss Greer in Georgia, who said both the Savannah, Chatham County area and the Augusta area have large populations. But in situations like this, we in every other area are prioritized well after Atlanta. So when the reports go out that they have restored power to hundreds of thousands, those people are all in the same area. Unfortunately, despite our state has a Republican government, the Harris ticket will suffer. The people in these areas who, like me, wouldn't vote for Trump if he were the only candidate on the ballot simply won't vote. And trust me, these two areas will take the Harris ticket over the top. But when people's needs aren't met, they vote their feelings, not their conscience. Now, we have seen shenanigans last election, actually, when it came to the mail. And I wouldn't put anything past this election because we've already seen voter suppression efforts in Texas, and in Florida, and in Georgia. So one thing I must say is to be vigilant. Make sure that you have all the proper identification. Make sure you check your voter registration well in advance, and do everything you possibly can to make sure that your vote is counted. And yes, by the way, I did see your emails about the Vigilantes documentary. I'm gonna have to check that out over the weekend, and I'll give you my thoughts next week.
Okay, Randy, put your cup down and turn around. Ma'am?
Let go of me. You let go of me. Let go of me. Let go of me.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I very much appreciate the support. And as I mentioned previously, we got membership now. Yes, it was something that you guys suggested, and a suggestion that I took and moved forward with. And it's something I'm really super excited about. That's going to give me the ability to give people early access to videos and ad-free experience, and also be able to record things on the go when I'm not necessarily in my perfect environment. I have something I just want to drop in real quick. I have the ability to do that. The ability to give you guys deep dive investigation pieces, some of the stuff that may not necessarily be topical, but stuff that deserves your attention. And of course, some of the uncensored content as well, because Lord knows the kind of stuff that I have to cut out of my videos can make pieces in and of themselves. Well, now I have the ability to do all of that. So sincere thank you to everybody that has joined the channel already. I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm surprised it's not a director's cut of this interview, because if it was me, it'd be some CCTV footage somewhere. Hi, welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page, and shout out to all of our new members here on the channel. Yeah, I got on my pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and shout out to the subs here on the channel who made sure that I got that in. Also, while we're on the topic of giving shout outs, I see you, Georgia, out here breaking records with early voting.
Take a look at these lines from earlier today, where more than 300,000 ballots were cast. Nearly 3 times the record turnout in 2020, which saw 130,000 people vote on the first day of early voting. With 21 days until Election Day, Georgia is one of several battleground states where in-person early voting kicks off this week, including North Carolina on Thursday and Nevada on Saturday.
Respect. Those of you in jurisdictions where you can't vote already, make sure you get that done. And yeah, yesterday had me feeling a ways when Vice President Kamala Harris took on Fox News. He thought he was going to bring her in and bully her, and that is what Fox News's goal clearly was when it came to this interview. And yes, you hear the police. You hear the police car out there. They need to call the police to come help Brett. I hope they come in for Brett. Now, thanks to everybody who showed up to my live watch party. We'll be trying to do some more of those from here through the election. But I gotta ask, if you watch Fox News, I'm trying to figure out how you process what it is that you saw. Because if you watch Fox News, you got to be so filled with disinformation, you probably think Tubi makes documentaries. But there are two things that we know. There are two things we know for an absolute fact. That Donald Trump is far too scared to go on CNN or MSNBC. We know that. You can give me whatever excuses you want. You know that he wouldn't go into enemy territory the way that Kamala Harris just did. That's the first thing we know. The second thing we know is that he's the one who's too scared to debate. You can give me your excuses about why he's too scared to debate. Really, that is just far too long for him to be away from a porta potty. You can give me whatever excuses you want. Those are just the facts. He's the one who won't debate. And unlike what Kamala Harris just did, he will not go on CNN or MSNBC. But then according to Fox News, Kamala's the one who's not prepared. She's the one who's not a real leader. She's the one who's not ready for the world stage. And she's the one who's not willing to take tough questions. See, even your misinformation don't make sense when you say it out loud. How do you say all of those things out loud and that makes sense to you? Trump won't debate. Trump won't go into enemy territory. Kamala's the one who's not ready for the national stage and not ready to face tough questions. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe you just have to repeat the things that Fox News is feeding you out loud, and then you realize just how bamboozled, led astray, and run amok you are.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok.
But ultimately, it really doesn't matter because we don't need Donald Trump to take tough questions because he's going to mess up all on his own.
What about consumers, people out there?
They're going to be the biggest beneficiary.
Critics say your tariffs will end up being like a national sales tax. Because
the countries
if you have America at the moment has $3 trillion worth of imports, you're going to add tariffs to every single one of them. That is going to push up the cost for all those people who want to buy foreign goods.
Now, what's going
that is
to
just
happen?
simple mathematics, President Trump.
Okay, now that we got that out the way, let's make another thing clear. Bret Baier tried it. He really did.
Election night in 2020, when he urged network executives to overrule the decision desk calling Arizona for Joe Biden in order to make amends with right-wing viewers. He admitted to pressing Fox News to slow walk their calls, including in Nevada, which ultimately also went to Biden.
Actually, that wasn't even what I was referring to, but he tried that too.
If he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States, why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What
God,
is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded. I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing. We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded. I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
Kamala Harris has said you sounded unhinged, and unchecked power is in our future. What do you say about that?
I thought it was a nice presentation. I wasn't unhinged. You know what they are? They're a party of sound bites. Somebody asked me, can they be brought together? You know, I never thought, really, I wasn't thinking like they could, because they're very, very different. And it is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists, and they're sick. I use a guy like Adam Schiff because they made up the Russia hoax. It took 2 years to solve the problem. Absolutely nothing was done wrong, et cetera, et cetera. They're dangerous for our country. We have China, we have Russia, we have all these countries. If you have a smart president, they can all be handled. The more difficult are, the Pelosi's, these people, they're so sick and they're so evil. If they would spend their time trying to make America great again, it would be so easy to make this country great. But when I heard about that, they were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So, Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you...
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America. Got caught in 4K trying to perpetrate a fraud during an interview with one of our presidential candidates. Now, I'd have just walked off set. I'd have just walked off set because I come from a world where if you tried to do that to me, you can't then reset and pretend to give a legitimate interview. Like, it's over. It's over at that point. That's like being on a first date and you get off the bus after your Tinder profile was just filled with pictures of a Maserati. Just keep on walking. You know what I mean? Just keep on walking. Nah, you know what? Just live to lie again another day. And shout out to Kamala Harris for calling a thing a thing. She called it out in real time. And what I need to understand, and that's why I opened the way that I did, talking about the mindset of somebody that watches Fox News. Like, how do you process that? Like, you just saw Fox News in real time. How does your brain process what you were just fed? And if you were wondering just how Fox News this interview really was, they had time for this.
Gender transition surgeries
you know what, you got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in this presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment surgeries?
I will follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say he did.
Now, Brett Baier, you had the nerve to come out and say that you wanted to ask the questions that the people really wanted an answer to, and this is what you had time for? That's what you had time for. You had a limited amount of time with the sitting vice president and one of our presidential nominees, and you had time to ask about trans operations for people, and you had time for that. You had an audience with a black woman running for president and didn't ask about all these national conversations we having about her supposedly sliding with black men, didn't ask her about black jobs, didn't ask her about turning black, Didn't ask her about the demonizing of Haitian migrants. Didn't ask her about Roe v. Wade. Didn't ask her about IVF. Didn't ask her nothing about abortion. In fact, didn't ask her about the significance of women in this particular election. But you had time to ask about trans operations for people in jail. If I would have never watched Fox News ever before a day in my life, if somebody came down from Superman's planet, okay, the other person who came down with Superman that didn't have no powers and was weak, because it's natural balance in the force. So if the weak person from Superman planet came down and you were trying to educate them on what exactly Fox News was, you sent them that clip. Send them that clip and the doctored one from earlier. That tells you everything you need to know. Now, it was contentious, as it should be when somebody lies on your name for a living. Just think about it. You know how angering it is when somebody lies on your name. Think about somebody lying on your name at work that affects your ability to make a living. Then think about that person who lies on your name at work that affects your ability to make a living is actively making money. That is their business, is lying on your name for a living, calling out everything from your ethnicity to your competence, to your husband, to your children, to your family, to your father. Think about the amount of smoke that you would come in dealing with people who dealt with you in that way. I'm surprised it's not a director's cut of this interview, because if it was me, it dang sure would have been. It'd be some CCTV footage somewhere. This is how the whole thing started.
Voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
Now let's get a couple things clear. And I'm the one to communicate this for a while. The fact that immigration has become such a wedge and a weapon for the right wing to attack Kamala Harris, when we understand exactly what happened with the border bill, is baffling to me, because how am I supposed to take you seriously for how significant you think that something is after you tried to politicize it? Like, how am I supposed to take you seriously that this is something that you actually care about after you got caught in 4K trying to politicize it and to run on it? I can't. And I don't understand how anybody else can, for that matter. Don't come to me and talk to me about illegals this and illegals that when you had an opportunity to fix the problem. That's number one. Number two, I don't particularly, despite the fact that Kamala pivoted to that point, I don't particularly like that answer. Number one, because we've heard it before, and while it's extremely effective with people like me and completely deads it in the water, it's not necessarily as effective with other people. The other reason why I don't particularly like that pivot is that you take Trump off the hook for how he handled the border. Why are we always ceding that Trump was amazing when it came to the border? That's where kids in cages came from Trump's border policy. The fact that he's been demonizing all immigrants. Oh, sorry, not all immigrants. Just the brown and black ones, not all immigrants, right? The fact that he's been demonizing anybody that didn't come in with his complexion, that comes from his border policy. In fact, while we're having all these national conversations about the black vote and black men, Latinos, what y'all doing? Huh? I need to know what y'all are doing, because he talks about y'all like the dogs the Haitians are supposed to be eating.
And they're now happily living in the United States. You know, now a murderer, I believe this, it's in their genes. And we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now.
In fact, here's where he was at this very moment.
Action was taken, strong action. Ashley Babbitt was killed. Nobody was killed. There were no guns down there. We didn't have guns. But that was a day of love from the standpoint of the millions. It's like hundreds of thousands.
Now, here's what really had me tight.
Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed.
Oh, okay. You mean this Laken Riley?
I feel like she's being used somewhat politically.
How do you feel about that?
It makes me angry. She was much better than that. She should be raised up for the person that she is.
Which, by the way, I thought would have been an excellent reference for Vice President Harris at that exact moment in time. The fact that they are actually politicizing this months after he said that. But rare is it that we have such a display of the variance of value that we place on people's lives. Do you know how many black girls have gone missing this year? You know how many black girls have come up dead this year? Do you know the names of any of them, Brett Baer? And as somebody correctly placed in my chat when we were doing the live, how about Native girls? How about boys? How about Native boys? How about black boys? Do you know how many of them have come up missing or have turned up past since all of this? But let it be a migrant. The level of offense that I take at this is wild. In fact, apparently that's what you have to do, is to blame migrants. Then all of a sudden you get all this energy and attention on your lost child. Is that what it is? Because that did work for J.D. Vance, right? That is the MO, right? We churn up a story in order to direct attention where it's supposed to go. Man, why didn't black and Native people think of that before? We just blame migrants, and all of a sudden we get all this attention on our missing and lost girls. While we're on the topic of blaming migrants, let's go ahead and check on Trump again and see how he's managing to try and not do that for once.
Action was taken, strong action. Ashley Babbitt was killed. Nobody was killed. There were no guns down there. We didn't have guns. But that was a day of love from the standpoint of the millions. It's like hundreds of thousands.
Now, as I said earlier, I like to call a thing, and Kamala Harris just crushed this interview. She just absolutely crushed this interview. It was so bad for Fox News that in the aftermath, they had to bring out Eric Trump to try and put a happy face on this. Eric Trump. Where are all the analysts that would at least give you some semblance or expectation of objectivity?
The contradictions don't make sense. I'm a really smart guy, but none of us could follow it. I don't think you could follow it either. I mean,
think about the world that we live in right now, where it's not weird for them to bring in Eric Trump to just give his unbiased opinion. It'd be like if Trump gave a town hall and CNN said, all right, now here to give her honest take on what happened, Kamala Harris's sister.
well, I mean, Laura, she's never actually had a real job, right? I mean, she's been in the federal government her entire adult life. She's never signed the front of a check.
Wait a minute. I know he didn't say what I think he said.
Well, I mean, Laura, she's never actually had a real job, right? I mean, she's been in the federal government her entire adult life. She's never signed the front of a check.
Now, at this point, I need to holler at all of the MAGA men. I need all of the guys with your Trump flags and your MAGA hats and your Confederate placards on the back of your pickup. This is who you support? Just understand. Just so I'm clear. This trust fund baby who's claiming that a career public servant has never had a real job. I just want to make sure that's who you support. I'm just trying to make sure that's y'all's mans. I'm just trying to make sure, you know what I mean? I got to check on these things periodically. And yes, Trump, this is the man that you raised.
Well, I mean, Laura, she's never actually had a real job, right? I mean, she's been in the federal government her entire adult life. She's never signed the front of a check.
And one last thing. After Kamala Harris walked him into the woods and told him to grab a switch, Bret Baier tried to save face.
It was a little tense. We were given the time of 5 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, my show is at 6 p.m. They wanted to tape at 5 p.m. We said we were going to tape as live. In other words, roll the tape and then just turn that around unedited, uninterrupted, and but we had to do it before 5:15. Otherwise, we couldn't turn the whole machine around before the top of the 6 p.m. show. So we were waiting at 4:55, and then 5, and then 5:05, and then 5:10. At 5:17, the vice president walked out. So it did feel a little bit like they're icing the kicker or trying to. And originally they were talking about 25 minutes and they gave us 20 minutes. And I was fine with any time. I was really happy to get the interview.
Hey, NABJ, you listening? Hey, NABJ, I just want to make sure you heard. NABJ sat there and let Donald Trump throw the moderator under the bus, throw the production under the bus, throw their technology under the bus, all for things that were ultimately revealed to be his fault. Yeah, you did that to protect somebody that would throw us under the bus just to cover a pothole. All in all, it was an excellent night for Kamala Harris, and I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's always better with friends. So again, shout out to everybody who was at the live watch party. As far as you, Trump, I mean, you probably better off just not checking the TV when you get home.
As you mentioned, and as we all know, Trump was convicted earlier this year, 34 felonies, after he paid Stormy Daniels to be quiet. He paid her 11 days before the 2016 election to not talk about her, what she described as her unpleasant experience having with him. He paid her so voters would not know about that when they went to vote in 2016. Well, now we have just learned, we have reported out, 20 days, here it is, 20 days before this election, we can report that he is once again trying to pay Stormy Daniels to be quiet ahead of this next election.
And I'm glad I did. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and also a special thank you to all of our subscribers and members here on the channel. I'm just about to roll out the first batch of badges and emoji, and I'm taking your suggestions on what you think would look nice in the chat or look nice next to your name when you leave a comment. Email me at reese@reesewaters.com and let me know what your suggestion would be. We are on the precipice of 200K. What do? We throw a party? We do a special live? You know what? I'm gonna surprise you. Oh, the power of video. And it is not lost on me that these are the kinds of things that get scrubbed from social media platforms all the time. Welcome to Racist of the Week. My name is Reese Waters. This is where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the page, and definitely leave me any possible suggestions for nominees in the comments, or email me at reese@reesewaters.com. And shout out to all my new members here on the channel. Today's first nominee, these Sarasota, Florida men. one of whom apparently is named Steve. An 18-year-old black teen recorded a group of white men following and harassing him after Hurricane Milton at high-end development Sky Ranch in Sarasota, Florida. Whitney Portella, the teen's mother, posted the video showing her 18-year-old son walking in the development. Quote, "The morning aftermath of Hurricane Milton, my son wanted to walk the neighborhood to talk to his girlfriend on his phone because we didn't have power, so his service was bad in the house. This is what he had to deal with. Even after telling these men he lives here, they were not satisfied with his answer and continued to harass him." Portella wrote this on her Facebook post along with the video she posted on October 15th. Now, I want to go to the video, but before we do, I just have to highlight the level of your commitment to racism and discrimination to be taking time out of your hurricane recovery for harassment. Like, you just got hit with a hurricane. The whole state, not just you, just got hit with a hurricane, and you take time out of your recovery to be racist. That is the level of commitment that we're dealing with here.
What's going on, buddy?
Nigga, brother. She in my hood.
Obviously, he doesn't live here.
Visiting a friend, that's fine. Just let us know because you're getting neighbor concerns because you're walking around my house. I'm not walking around your house. Hold on, see, you've been past my house 4 times. I don't know you. I've never seen you here before, and you're walking past my house over and over again. So if you live here or you have a friend you're visiting here, that's fine. I'm not in front of your house. You're actually following me.
All right, I wanted to let the video play out, but I just had to stop us right here. So if your legitimate concern was the safety of your house, how would that be affected when you see other people are following this man? So you need a whole team to protect the sanctity of your house, right? Because you said that he kept walking by your house, but you see other people following him. That doesn't throw you off the something is wrong scent when you see other people follow him? You have to go put your gear on and join in? Make that make sense. I also would like to highlight the fact that as a black man, I find myself in this situation often where the path of least resistance is to just tell them what they want to know so that they can be on their way. But that empowers them to demand this kind of information and these kinds of qualifications from us wherever we happen to be. That is how microaggressions become actual real life aggressions, which you see right here.
Wait a minute, why would I want to live in Florida? Black people's votes go right in the garbage. All right, we're moving to Florida.
So in this situation, yeah, he could probably just explain to them what the situation is and that he lives here. But the reality is you don't treat anybody else like that. And that would tell you that this behavior is okay. So the next time me or anybody else happens to just want to walk the neighborhood and talk to their girlfriend, you feel fully within your rights to demand these kinds of qualifications for my existence.
We're just asking a question. You live out here?
I'm a part of the neighborhood.
You're part of the neighborhood? Does that mean you live here? It's simple.
Like, bro, what?
I'm asking a question. You live here? You're up to my wife.
But I didn't go up to your wife, bro.
Now, granted, I don't have full surveillance footage of the last 24 hours of this kid's life, so I can't declare with any real certainty that he did not go up to your wife. What I can say is that if he in fact did go up to your wife, it seems like you got some people on the case. So I don't know why you felt like the 10 speed and the flip flops and the lime green shirt were needed. I don't understand your behavior, and the behavior of everybody else, including his behavior, does not lend itself to that's a real thing that happened.
I don't know who you're talking about. And I think I can walk around my neighborhood.
You live here, yeah. You live here.
Like,
You live here.
you gonna keep asking me the same question over and over and over and over and over. This man's following me. This is harassment, right?
You haven't answered yet.
That's harassment, right? That's harassment, right?
I think what you did to my wife, yes.
Look. He following you. You read it up.
The level of entitlement is absolutely insane. And they know exactly what to say. Throw out an allegation that nobody saw, nobody has verification of, cannot be proven, and doesn't make sense in the context of the evidence that we in fact do have. Very well done. Historically, that's worked extremely well. Now, the development issued a statement Thursday saying it's working with the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office investigation of the incident that has gained national attention and wants everyone to feel safe there, saying, quote, "It is deeply important to us that everyone feels safe in the communities they call home. We're taking this matter very seriously by working diligently with the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office as their investigation is ongoing." That was from Taylor Morrison, a company statement attributed to a spokesperson. However, that statement seemed to not necessarily jibe with this piece of video that we saw that does not lend itself to everybody, quote, feeling safe here. You know, Steve was mad when they said his legal name. You know he was mad. He like, bruh, like how you just gonna use my legal? Now I can't even do nothing racist. You know what I mean? Like I was fully committed to the racism, and now you got my name out here. Like, bruh, come on. Oh, the power of video. And it's not lost on me that these are the kinds of things that get scrubbed from social media platforms all the time. An email from the development company also said, despite social media comments to the contrary, no parties involved in the incident are members of the Homeowners Association. So there you have it. Absolutely no real rights or claims to be patrolling the neighborhood in this particular way as a group to follow one person after a hurricane. I mean, there are certainly a lot worse racist actions, but in terms of the level of racism that you have to feel in order to feel entitled to behave this way and have the time and energy to feel this way after a hurricane is quite high.
What's going on, buddy?
Nigga, brother. She ain't my help.
I don't know if you're going to be able to take home the prize for Racist of the Week. However, this is a particularly competitive one. Our second nominee, Michigan Judge Kathleen Ryan. Now, if that name rings a bell, it's probably because we've been here before. She's been nominated here before. Roll that clip.
If you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a lazy piece of.
And not only did she receive a nomination, I also gave a nomination to her colleagues, Oakland County Chief Probate Judge Linda Hallmark, who didn't see fit to make any sort of moves after she became aware that one of her judges had this level of open racism and still had the ability to affect black people's lives. That was fine for her until everything hit the media. Also, there's Oakland County Probate Judge Daniel O'Brien, who said, yeah, that's not representative of her, but we all got her back. We respect the authority of the Michigan Supreme Court. However, we look forward to vindicating Judge Ryan in the appropriate forum. Well, guess what? There's more.
Now to an update on a story the 7 investigators first broke last month. A local judge accused of making racist and homophobic comments.
Well, tonight, 7 investigator Heather Catallo has obtained more recordings of the judge.
Here's Heather with what she's learned now. Judge Kathleen Ryan was removed from her docket in late August, and I have learned that investigators from the Judicial Tenure Commission have been conducting interviews about the judge's alleged behavior with employees at the Oakland County Probate Court. The question now is, will she be taken off the bench for good or allowed to go back to work?
I can honestly say that, okay, I'm not systemically racist, I'm a new racist.
The 7 investigators were the first to reveal the recordings that Oakland County officials say prompted Judge Kathleen Ryan's removal from her docket in August.
Black. I'm so off at this Black Lives Matter, hashtag Me Too, all this. Oh my God, I'm like, you.
Okay, so you want to merge Black Lives Matter with Me Too, because those are two completely separate movements, other than the fact that they are trying to achieve some level of justice for a group historically overlooked by our criminal justice system. Oh, I got it. So it's not so much that black people bother you, it's that justice bothers you, which is a great quality for a judge.
Ryan is the Oakland County Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge.
The Honorable Kathleen A. Ryan presiding. Good morning. You may be seated.
And she's been on the bench for more than 13 years. Attorney Edward Hutton is the Oakland County Probate Court Administrator.
I've never met anybody that enjoys hurting people and brags about it the way she does, or intimidating people.
Does any of that track? Huh? Does any of that track with a person who very specifically has a problem with underserved or ignored or disenfranchised communities achieving justice? Does that little comment track with it? And yes, I'm still looking at you, Probate Judge Daniel O'Brien and Chief Probate Judge Linda Hallmark, for standing by her, because that's not representative.
Hutton is in charge of running everything that's not under the judge's purview inside one of the state's largest probate courts. He alleges Judge Ryan has been calling him both during work and after hours for years. And Hutton says during those hours and hours of calls, Judge Ryan said highly inappropriate and racist things.
But this whole Black Lives Matter stuff, they're like, everyone's all entitled. Let's assume that they did get screwed.
Okay, let's just stop us right there. So we're entitled for asserting that our lives matter. That makes us entitled. Okay, so to not be entitled would be to go along with a system that has made us feel in such a way where we even need to assert that our lives matter. Got it.
Screwed just because of the nature of their color and the way America is, systemic racism, all that. Fine.
What you mean fine? What you mean fine? How you ignore? What you mean fine? Like, does she understand how the English language works? Like, do you even know what you just said?
But don't they have an obligation to step up to the plate too? I mean, think about it. All they have to do is look at their history, like the whole baby mamas and the dads taking off, and it's like you guys have an obligation too. You want us to treat you equally, you got to step up and do the same job. You don't get to be a lazy.
So let me ask you this. Kathleen Ryan. What are the qualifications that a citizen needs to hit in order to be treated equally? I just need to know, what are the job and family requirements that we need to hit in order to be treated equally? Go ahead, I'll wait. And pretty much assume that whatever you give me, I will find you somebody that has gone far and above that and not been treated equally. Yeah. You know what I want in a judge is somebody who will cede systemic racism and then say, look at your history, why don't you step up to the plate? Michigan, what y'all doing? Huh? I need to know what y'all are doing, Michigan. I need to know how, not the racism. It's not the racism. It's the ignorance. It's the level of ignorance that somebody is able to take onto a judge's bench and apparently not have that ignorance be problematic enough for her colleagues, right? Linda Hallmark and Daniel O'Brien?
Why did you start recording the calls?
I just felt like it wasn't going to change. Nothing's manipulated in it. It's conversations that I was a part of, and I'm absolutely willing to testify to the authenticity of every single one of them.
Hutton says he's always been concerned Judge Ryan's powerful friends in Oakland County might protect her.
I hate to say it, knock on wood, I really kind of am untouchable. They can't touch me. They can't touch my salary. They can't touch my job. All they can do is have somebody run against me. Good luck.
Okay, a couple of things. Number one, this is an issue we all need to look at. The fact that you had somebody with this level of fundamental misunderstanding of not only history, but the English language, who was able to ascend to a judge's bench, but also the fact that the level of difficulty there is in removing somebody with that level of ignorance and fundamental misunderstanding of history and the English language from the judge's bench. That is something that we all need to grapple with, number one. Number two, the reason why it is so difficult to remove people like that is because of the inaction of all of the people around her that allowed things to get to this point where a whistleblower, and shout out to him, thought it was damning enough, not a black person, mind you, and not a woman, thought that her behavior was damning enough that he had to go to the media.
New villain in town.
So what that tells me is y'all all gotta go. That's what it tells me, because she exhibited this behavior. She definitely gotta go. But that wasn't disqualifying for you. And that tells me about your judgment. Fellow judges, y'all all gotta go.
Hutton says Ryan has bragged in the past about knowing people on the Judicial Tenure Commission.
And I would add that in and of itself, just the last part would be enough to tamp out this kind of behavior. But because they protect one another, we always go at cops for protecting one another, talking about the blue wall and whatnot. They want some smoke. They need it.
My buddy Monty Burmeister, he's on the JTC.
Hey, Monty Burmeister. Yeah, we want to holler at you. Yeah, we need to holler at you, Monty Burmeister. Yeah, no, she called you out by name.
Hutton says in the past, Judge Ryan also talked about how the rest of the Oakland County judges would support her.
I'm pretty untouchable, so you guys really want to be. So you got 22 judges who are. Guess what? They're still going to back me.
Okay, so it's two kinds of judges. Two kinds of judges that you have in Oakland County, Michigan, according to Kathleen Ryan. You have P's, and you have the ones that will protect her for her racism. That's it. You got P's and the ones that are willing to protect her for her racism. So congratulations for enabling this kind of behavior. Because she just threw all y'all under the bus, as well she should have.
This isn't the first time that Judge Ryan has allegedly made statements about her status as a judge. In November of 2021, Wixom police arrested Ryan for domestic assault. That charge was later dropped, but police records say Ryan hit her boyfriend in the face, and when she was arrested, she allegedly mentioned she was a judge and yelled obscenities at the officer, saying she was going to, quote, come after the officer.
That sounds like a lot of baby mama behavior to me. It does, yeah. It sounds like a lot of baby mama behavior to me. You know, Judge Ryan, if you want to be treated equally, don't you got to step up to the plate? You know, don't you have to do your part? I mean, look at your history.
Judges are at the center of representing the system of justice to the public. And it's not only important the way in which they handle their work, but the view that the public has of them.
Law professor Larry Dubin is a legal ethics expert. Dubin says Judge Ryan's statements about race and being untouchable have the potential for serious consequences from the JTC, because even the appearance of misconduct can violate the code of judicial conduct.
I would say that if a judge believes that he or she is basically untouchable, that they basically can do whatever they want to do, and there will not be any consequences for it, is really mistaken. So the Supreme Court is going to be concerned, even if a judge is creating a bad image before the public.
She's a judge, and she makes decisions from the bench that affect individuals' lives and families' lives and have a rippling effect throughout our communities, our county, our state, and it just can't be allowed to continue.
I did reach out to Judge Ryan's attorneys. They did not comment on these new recordings, but previously told us, quote, "We respect the authority of the Michigan Supreme Court. However, we look forward to vindicating Judge Ryan in the appropriate forum."
I had a lot of fun with that comment in the first video. You look forward to vindicating her? Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. I will disagree with the analysts who were saying that a judge who feels that they are untouchable and whatnot and they can do whatever is mistaken. No, they're not mistaken. That's how we got to this point. That's how we had to take a whistleblower going to the media, because the rest of the judges wasn't gonna say nothing, and you wasn't listening to any of the people who complained. So sounds to me like that was the one accurate and correct thing that she said. Congratulations to you, Kathleen Ryan, for your second Racist of the Week nominee. And while we're at it, congratulations to Linda Hallmark and Daniel O'Brien as well for your second Racist of the Week nominee. And if I knew more of the Oakland County probate judges' names, they would all, you know what, just send them a case. Yeah, send them a case of Racist of the Week nominees. Yeah. And matter of fact, put the whistleblower's name on it. Put his name on it with a nice little bow in front. Let's go ahead and do that. We also have one other update before we close. Obviously, we've talked at length here in this space about Mark Robinson out of North Carolina. Well, it seems that Mark Robinson has decided to sue CNN. I wonder why.
This is not us. These are not our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me, nor has it ever been. The people here of North Carolina know I have been completely transparent about my history. All the warts, we put them all out. We let folks know about it.
I got a question. Can Michael Eric Dyson sue CNN? You know, for what happened? I, for one, implore CNN to take this to court, because we need discovery in the worst kind of way. Like America needs discovery in the worst kind of way. Whatever happens with the election in November, we're gonna need something that brings us all together and distracts us from all the nonsense that there will inevitably be, no matter which way that goes. I think we need the Mark Robinson files, like in November. Like we need the Mark Robinson files, CNN, so make that happen. Also, I always like to close Racist of the Week on a happy note whenever I possibly can. And I want to send a shout out to former President Jimmy Carter, who said his goal was to live long enough to vote for Kamala Harris for president. And you know what? He did.
And the oldest living former president, Jimmy Carter, says he's voting for Kamala Harris in November.
Congratulations and thank you for doing your civic duty and being a model citizen in and out of office. And you know what? If Jimmy Carter can vote, so can you. So get on it. All right, thank you all for rocking with me this week. If you have any nominees, go ahead and throw them in the comments. You can email me at reese@reesewaters.com. I'll see y'all next time.